I speak to you today with feelings of profound sorrow.
Well, it looks like there could be some big changes coming for Queen Consort Camilla.
Seismic announcement regarding the future of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. A statement from Buckingham Palace detailed a much more limited role for the couple, even stripping them of their royal title.
She once stood beside royalty, but now Meghan Markle finds herself pushed to the very edge of the monarchy's iron grip. In a stunning move, King Charles has revoked her royal title.
The British royal family's official titles have gone through many changes,
stripping her of the last symbol of palace prestige. After fierce tensions with Queen Camilla reached their boiling point, behind closed doors, voices clashed, alliances cracked, and a final decision was made. This isn't just royal drama. It's a turning point. But what line did Meghan really cross that forced the king to act so ruthlessly? Let's dive in. Meghan Markle vanishes from the royal record. The massive iron gates of Buckingham Palace, usually calm and proud, shuddered today under a very different weight. A stamped order, sealed with crimson wax, informed waiting reporters that King Charles had erased every trace of Meghan Markle's royal identity. No rumor, no leak, no overheard servant, just the crown speaking in its unmistakable voice. For years, whispers bounced like tennis balls in a mirrored hall. Now the ball has smashed through the glass, and silence rings louder than any headline. Within minutes, the hashtag Royal Reset trended worldwide. Anchors replayed Meghan's wedding walk,
the wedding reception for Prince Harry and his wife, that never gets old, his wife Meghan.
Podcasters dissected her last episode, and late-night hosts sharpened jokes, while chats from Lagos, Toronto, Brussels, Tokyo, and Sydney debated duty, race, love, tradition, faith, hope, and future deep into the night. People on 5 continents froze over morning coffee, staring at push alerts and asking the same thing. Why now? Months of Netflix confessions and tell-all memoirs did not move the monarch, yet a tension between Queen Camilla and Meghan finally snapped.
Logging onto Netflix last night to find not 1, not 2, but 3 episodes from the new Harry and Meghan documentary.
Courtiers insist the clash was no shouting match. It was a freeze-out. One by one, doors closed, invites vanished, and when the ink dried, Meghan's name was already gone from every gilded ledger. Prince William, thinking about the day he will carry the crown, is said to have pressed hardest. Friends claim he framed the decision as survival, not revenge. The institution must endure, he reportedly told aides, and survival sometimes means pruning a branch before a storm can split the tree. With Charles's health whispered about in cautious tones and global trust in the monarchy wobbling,
there are new bombshell claims today from royal insiders who say King Charles's cancer is incurable.
William argued that a swift cut, though painful, would steady the ship. Yet calm is not the word echoing through palace corridors. Staff who once balanced 4 royal households now work from a list missing one. The new rule is absolute silence. No calls, no texts, not even polite replies to birthday greetings. Royal watcher Angela Levin calls this the harshest penalty of all because drama needs air, and silence is a vacuum that smothers attention. Harry faces a harder road. Blood gives him a narrow bridge back, but the toll is steep. No more public airing of pain. Sources whisper that if he stays quiet, dusty doors may open again. If he speaks, hinges could rust shut forever. He now balances loyalty to his wife against longing for the home he once knew. Outside the palace, opinion splits, and living rooms worldwide join the hushed debate. Some cheer the king for guarding tradition. Others cry foul, calling the move vindictive and out of touch with a modern Britain that once promised openness. Historians note that stripping titles is rare but not unheard of. Yet, it always marks a moment when the crown decides survival means more than unity. Inside, portraits of past rulers watch another crisis fade into framed calm. Yet the carpeted corridors stay chilly, drapes muffling footsteps like clouds swallowing thunder. One decree has closed a chapter, but the next page remains blank. Everyone waits for tomorrow's headline and wonders whether reconciliation is possible after such a public break. The story is far from over, because its shockwave now races toward global newsrooms.
The royal rumor mill is buzzing.
Government benches and Hollywood red carpets. Anywhere the Sussex name still sparks fascination or fury. Each ripple threatens to knock something else loose. When the monarchy closes a door, echoes chase it down every hallway. Now we stand before a new question, one that only time can answer. Will this seismic strike against Meghan boomerang back at the throne? Or forever fortify it? Keep your eyes locked on the unfolding tempest for generations yet to watch. Meghans Title. The weight of a title. Why Duchess of Sussex meant so much. Meghan Markle didn't quietly enter royal life, she exploded onto the scene. An American actress marrying into one of the oldest institutions in the world was never going to be subtle.
From Knight Rider to a couple of Hallmark movies, Meghan's had more than 30 acting roles.
She was hailed as the modernizer, the breath of fresh air meant to carry the monarchy into a more inclusive and global future. To many, Meghan symbolized progress. To others, she was a threat to tradition. But now, in a move that felt colder than any royal protocol, her title has been stripped. No ceremony, no public message, no personal call. Just silence, followed by a blunt announcement. Royal titles carry weight, but for Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex meant more than lineage. It was a symbol of representation, of breaking barriers. For her critics, it was a reward she hadn't earned. So when that title was erased, it wasn't administrative. It was symbolic. A quiet but thunderous message from King Charles. You're no longer part of this family, not by name or by legacy. Insiders say this decision wasn't made in haste. Tensions had been brewing for years. The Queen's passing, the coronation, and a string of controversies only delayed the inevitable.
Buckingham Palace has announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Charles reportedly felt undermined by leaks from Meghan and Harry's camp and was unsettled by lawsuits involving their ventures. Even Meghan's use of her title in official correspondence raised eyebrows within diplomatic circles. Bit by bit, patience wore thin. To King Charles, this wasn't personal. It was about restoration. After years of scandals, he sees his reign as a chance to rebuild the monarchy with careful control. Every role, every title, must serve the crown. In that vision, Meghan's continued use of Duchess of Sussex, even from across the Atlantic, was unacceptable. The signs had been there. Her name left out of birthday posts, absent from family statements, and now officially removed. The final wording was blunt. Her titles were nullified, not suspended, not regretted, erased. But this quiet removal has only raised louder questions. Was this a long overdue correction, or a sign of a monarchy unable to adapt? Why was Meghan, and not others with deeper scandals, chosen as the example? And with that, we move into the investigative journey. Was this just a title revoked? Or is it hiding a far more dangerous truth? Inside the palace power play, the investigative trail behind Meghan's title removal. This wasn't just about a title. It was a thunderclap masked as a whisper. While the world scrolled through afternoon headlines, a quiet but seismic shift was posted on the royal family's website. There were no camera flashes, no podium speeches, only a sterile digital announcement, but hidden beneath its emotionless language was a message louder than any royal decree in recent memory. Meghan Markle, once known to the world as the Duchess of Sussex, no longer holds any royal title. Not honorary, not ceremonial, not even symbolic. Gone. Wiped clean by the will of King Charles III himself. A decision as sharp as a sword's edge, delivered with chilling precision. The notice didn't plead for understanding or offer any explanation. It simply declared that after internal reviews, the Duchess of Sussex's titles were hereby relinquished under the King's directive. Those two words, sovereign's directive, cut deeper than many realize. They weren't just a formality. They signaled finality, power, and possibly punishment.
Reportedly formulating a plan to finally strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH titles.
Inside the palace, the announcement sparked no joy, only exhaustion. According to insiders, months of tension had built up behind palace walls. Some officials feared this move would make the monarchy look bitter and petty. Others warned that doing nothing made them appear spineless, especially as Meghan continued appearing at high-profile events, attaching her title to everything from global speeches to email signatures. One senior advisor reportedly told the king, "Every time she uses Duchess, she rewrites what it means to be royal in the modern world, on her terms." That was the fear, that Meghan had turned royal identity into a tool of influence, far beyond the palace's control. The breaking point? A speech in New York. Meghan took the stage and ended her address with the words, "Duchess of Sussex, advocate and global citizen." It was bold. Admirers cheered. But for the monarchy, it was too much, too public, too political. Soon after, private emails emerged where Meghan again used her title when contacting global charities and nonprofits. Some of those messages reached embassies. Diplomatic offices began asking, was she speaking for herself or the crown? The ambiguity was dangerous. The monarchy was losing grip of its narrative. In response, King Charles quietly summoned constitutional experts. The mission was clear: find a way to revoke Meghan's titles permanently. Legally, this wasn't easy. Peerage titles like Earl can be removed through Parliament, but sovereign grants, like Duchess, are different. They are embedded in royal authority and tradition. Undoing one required a blend of law, history, and firm political will. Charles had all three. But the real story wasn't just in the paperwork, it was in the pressure. Because the title wasn't just taken, it was ripped away after months of whispered conflict that finally burst into open confrontation. And that's where Camilla comes in. Behind the royal walls, Meghan's ongoing presence as Duchess was reportedly a sore spot for the Queen Consort. Camilla, who had spent years clawing her way into public acceptance,
once known as the other woman, Camilla is now the Queen. Kind of. The new king's darling wife has become the Queen Consort.
Didn't take kindly to Meghan's ability to overshadow the royal women, especially from outside the palace gates. Sources reveal Camilla confronted King Charles directly, warning that if Meghan kept the title, it would weaken the respect attached to all royal titles, including her own. It wasn't just tension, it was war. And for Meghan, this wasn't just about identity, it was personal. She believed she had earned the right to speak her truth, title or not. But when it became clear that Camilla had Charles's ear, Meghan reportedly hit back, privately accusing Camilla of manipulating royal protocol for her image. From then on, it wasn't a silent rivalry. It was a firestorm. Meghan's defiance grew louder. Camilla's patience grew thinner. And King Charles? He made his choice. The result was a royal strike that did more than remove a title. It exposed the fractures in the crown's core. But the fallout didn't stop there, because now all eyes turned to someone else. A royal who has stayed quiet for too long, which leads us straight to William's response. Will the future king stand firm for royal tradition?
Conservationist, father, and future king.
Or choose to shield his brother's wife instead? Stay tuned. Prince William's royal shutdown. Meghan no longer exists. Behind closed palace doors, Prince William is said to be the quiet force driving the monarchy's new approach to Meghan Markle. an approach that goes beyond personal feelings. This isn't about anger or revenge. It's a strategy, carefully built around one goal: protecting the crown from turning into a never-ending tabloid circus. To William, Meghan represents chaos, a kind of energy that threatens the discipline and tradition the monarchy depends on. Her public interviews, sudden media drops, and unpredictable moves have drawn too much attention, too often, for all the wrong reasons. But William's response has been anything but loud. Instead, he's chosen silence. Total, deliberate silence. No more responses, no more public statements, no behind-the-scenes messages. He's erased her from the royal atmosphere, right down to banning her name from internal meetings. To him, Meghan doesn't just challenge the crown, she threatens to redefine it, and that's something he refuses to allow. Those close to the prince say he made his feelings known in quiet but powerful ways. When Meghan's name came up during internal conversations, his reaction was swift and firm: never mention her again. That wasn't just frustration, it was a line in the sand. And Kate, already dealing with the emotional toll of years of Meghan-related press, not only agreed with him, she reportedly demanded the same. Insiders say the pressure Meghan placed on the family, especially Kate, remains underestimated. And while the public rarely saw the behind-the-scenes damage, it cut deep. One moment of William's bottled frustration did spill out, though. After Oprah's interview aired, and a reporter shouted a question about racism,
Oprah promised bombshells, and Meghan and Harry delivered.
William snapped, "We're very much not a racist family." The palace had wanted silence. That outburst, however small, was seen as a crack in his otherwise disciplined public mask, and one he likely regrets. Since then, he's doubled down on silence. He's learned that giving Meghan a reaction only strengthens her media narrative. And it's not just within royal walls. Former allies are vanishing too. Remember Edward Enninful, the former Vogue UK editor who once championed Meghan as a guest editor? He's now completely cut ties. Back then their bond was celebrated, shared ideals, mint tea meetings, and plans for influence. But according to insiders, it all fell apart due to Meghan's backstage demands and behavior. Vogue staff reportedly endured difficult work environment, and when the prestige couldn't justify the stress, the door quietly shut. That same pattern shows up again and again. Meghan builds powerful partnerships, but when pressure mounts or control is challenged, the relationships crumble. Staff, celebrities, even trusted media contacts. Many now keep their distance. Even in Hollywood, the glow that once followed her now flickers. The Duchess, who stood for inclusion and empowerment, is increasingly accused of embodying the very behaviors she once opposed: controlling, calculating, unstable. As Meghan grows more isolated, Harry remains stuck in a complex position. The palace hasn't completely closed the door on him, but the conditions are clear. No more interviews, no more indirect jabs, no more secrets turned into streaming deals. And yet, Harry's devotion to Meghan keeps him entangled. Every time he defends her, he distances himself further from the family that once defined him. If he walks away now, it feels like betrayal. If he stays, the divide widens. It's a trap with no easy exit. And through it all, William watches, not as a brother anymore, but as a future king. For him, preserving the monarchy takes priority over personal pain.
They're pictures that shine a light on a future king.
That's why, even amid the silence, one truth rings louder than ever. Meghan is no longer part of their world. And that quiet decision has shifted the royal balance forever. Stay locked in right now as another thundercloud gathers. Charles's relationship with Meghan? Broken bonds. Why Charles finally drew the line. King Charles's relationship with Meghan Markle was never loud or dramatic, but it was never truly close either. From the outside, it looked cordial. He even walked her down the aisle on her wedding day, a moment the world saw as touching and accepting. But inside the palace, something colder lingered. There was politeness, not a real connection. Respect, not warmth. From the very beginning, there was a quiet tension neither could fully ignore. Charles, raised under the heavy weight of royal tradition, had long been taught that duty comes before emotion. He valued discretion, subtlety, and self-restraint. Meghan, on the other hand, came from a very different world. She had fought for her place in life, building a career on confidence, independence, and having a voice. In a family where silence and composure are sacred, her boldness stood out, and not in a good way. As time passed, the cracks deepened. The turning point came during the Oprah interview when Meghan revealed that someone in the royal family had questioned the skin color of her unborn baby.
Concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
She never said who, but the damage was done. Though Charles wasn't named, many believed the accusation tainted everyone at the top. According to friends, he was stunned, deeply hurt that his earlier efforts to welcome Meghan had been overshadowed by claims that struck at the heart of the monarchy's values. Then came Harry's memoir, where Charles was painted as emotionally distant, more focused on his public role than being a present father. This portrayal, sources say, left Charles feeling betrayed. He had believed he was protecting his son, quietly backing his choices, even when they clashed with palace advice. But now, with every headline and confession, Charles saw the institution he spent his life defending being torn down, piece by piece. So when Meghans' title resurfaced as a royal issue, it wasn't about formality anymore. It was about survival. The monarchy, already bruised, couldn't afford blurred loyalties or unpredictable narratives. It needed a clean break, a firm message. Charles struggled. Insiders insist he didn't take the decision lightly. He thought of Harry. He feared backlash. He even feared history repeating itself. But in the end, he chose the crown. A painful decision, but one he saw as necessary. Because this wasn't just about family anymore. It was about legacy, loyalty, and drawing a line that could not be crossed again. Which brings us to the bigger question. How did she earn the title? What made Meghan's rise so royal and so controversial? Stay close. How Meghan became a duchess, the crown's gift and its price. When Meghan Markle married Prince Harry, Queen Elizabeth II bestowed the title Duchess of Sussex, signaling welcome into Britain's ancient monarchy. Overnight, the actress became a senior royal with global reach and weighty expectations. Few foresaw how that ceremonial label would later morph into both shield and sword. Duchess followed Meghan everywhere, on book jackets, streaming deals, charity speeches, and headline after headline. Admirers praised her for using royal cachet to spotlight causes. Critics accused her of cashing in while criticizing the very institution that created her platform. By law, royal titles belong to the sovereign. They can be granted and, in extreme cases, withdrawn by a single signature. Such reversals are scarce and explosive. Edward VIII surrendered his crown in 1936 for Wallis Simpson and lived the rest of his life as a sidelined duke. Princess Diana lost the style Her Royal Highness after her divorce, yet remained Princess of Wales. Prince Andrew, engulfed in scandal, relinquished military honors, but still carries Duke of York.
Buckingham Palace has announced that Prince Andrew is returning his royal and military titles to the Queen and will no longer be referred to as His Royal Highness.
Removal is therefore a last resort, reserved for moments the Crown deems existential. Meghan has committed no crime and faces no court, yet her public charges of racism, neglect, and outdated protocol hit the monarchy's nerve center. To supporters, she is a reformer. To detractors, a disruptor. Her title became the lightning rod for that clash, and when the palace finally cut it away, the impact was immediate and seismic. There were no leaks, no staged briefings, just a stark statement that split opinion worldwide. Traditionalists hailed King Charles for protecting royal dignity. Others condemned apparent double standards, noting Prince Andrew's title remains untouched. Social media lit up within minutes. Hashtags slicing opinion, late-night hosts sharpening punchlines, and pundits linking the saga to crises past. Meanwhile, constitutional scholars debated whether stripping a duchess might set a historic precedent, revealing deeper modernization battles beneath the pomp. The world watched, jaws clenched and unblinking. Inside Montecito, the mood reportedly turned somber. Meghan may not have flaunted Duchess daily, yet it crowned every introduction, press release, and contract. Its loss felt less administrative than personal, erasing part of her new identity. Harry, sources say, looked stricken. The decree severed another thread binding him to family and homeland, forcing a painful reckoning with the cost of stepping outside palace walls. And just like that, the title that once symbolized change is now a royal ghost. But is this the end of Meghan's chapter, or the start of a deeper power shift inside the palace? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold royal truths.